Self-discipline isn't about restriction, it's about liberation. It's the power to choose progress over comfort and purpose over impulse. While motivation fades with emotion, discipline stands like an anchor in the storm. It's the unseen force that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Self-discipline is one of the most misunderstood qualities in human growth. People often view it as punishment, a set of harsh rules that steal joy from life. They think of it as a cold, rigid lifestyle filled with constant denial, sacrifice, and pressure. But the truth is far from that. Self-discipline isn't about depriving yourself, it's about freeing yourself. It's about building a structure that supports your goals rather than confining your spirit. Discipline is not the enemy of happiness, it's the foundation of lasting peace, confidence, and purpose. Those who misunderstand discipline see only the surface struggle, the early mornings, the long hours, the effort that few are willing to make. But underneath that surface lies something beautiful: control, clarity, and the freedom to design life on your own terms. Discipline is the quiet force that allows you to rise above distractions, moods, and excuses. It's what keeps you steady when the world around you demands that you give in. It's the strength to do what must be done even when you don't feel like it. Most people wait for motivation to appear before they act. But discipline doesn't wait, it moves. It teaches you to act first, to take responsibility, to choose consistency over emotion. And through that choice you discover freedom. Because the truth is, freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want, it comes from mastering what you need to do. Without discipline, desires control you. With it, you control your desires. Every act of self-discipline builds invisible strength. Each time you wake up early, resist a distraction, or stick to your plan when it's easier to quit, you are teaching your mind and body to obey your higher self. You're showing yourself that your future matters more than your feelings. This is where discipline becomes a form of love. Love for your potential, your health, your purpose. It's a commitment to who you can become, not just who you are today. Discipline whispers, "I believe in who I'm becoming," even when results aren't visible yet. It is a promise you keep to yourself long before anyone else believes in you. What makes discipline so powerful is its quiet nature. It doesn't seek attention, applause, or validation. It's not loud or dramatic. It's built in silence, in small moments when no one is watching. The person who practices discipline learns to be patient with the process. They know real growth isn't instant. It's gradual, like the rising sun. Discipline doesn't demand perfection, it demands consistency. And consistency over time becomes transformation. Every disciplined choice is like a brick, and together those bricks build the life you dream of. Many people think discipline limits joy, but in truth it protects it. When you're disciplined, you're no longer enslaved by chaos or impulse. You can enjoy rest because you've earned it. You can appreciate pleasure because it doesn't control you. Discipline creates space for peace. It clears away the noise of guilt, delay, and regret, replacing them with confidence, focus, and fulfillment. Those who lack discipline often live in cycles of frustration, starting strong, quitting early, and wondering why they never move forward. But those who master it find a rhythm of progress that feels like freedom. Discipline is the force that bridges the gap between who you are and who you want to be. It transforms wishes into plans, plans into actions, and actions into reality. It's the quiet companion of success, the unspoken strength behind every achievement. Without it, even talent fades. With it, even ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. So, self-discipline is not the enemy of happiness. It's the path to it. It's the gentle, unwavering power that frees you from the prison of laziness, fear, and doubt, allowing you to live with purpose, peace, and pride. Motivation is a spark. It comes quickly, burns brightly, and disappears just as fast. It gives you that initial rush, that surge of excitement that makes everything seem possible. In that moment, you feel unstoppable, convinced that nothing can stand in your way. But what happens when that feeling fades, as it always does? What happens when the excitement turns into fatigue? When enthusiasm is replaced by boredom or frustration? This is where most people stop, waiting for motivation to return. But those who rely on motivation alone are trapped in a cycle of starts and stops, of high energy followed by deep discouragement. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't depend on emotion. It's steady, calm, and consistent. It doesn't need to feel inspired to act. It just moves forward step by step, no matter what mood you're in. That's why discipline outlasts motivation. It's built on decision, not emotion. The truth is, motivation is easy to find but hard to keep. It often arrives at the beginning of a new goal, a new fitness plan, a fresh project, a dream that excites you. But life always tests commitment after the excitement fades. There will be mornings when you don't want to get up, days when your energy is low, and moments when everything feels pointless. In those moments, motivation cannot help you. It whispers, "Take a break, or you can start again tomorrow." But discipline stands firm. It reminds you of your promises, your purpose, and your potential. It says, do it anyway. Discipline doesn't rely on emotion, it relies on choice. And that choice, repeated daily, builds strength that no temporary motivation can match. Discipline is what turns dreams into habits and habits into results. Motivation may start the engine, but discipline keeps the wheels turning when the road gets rough. Think about every great achievement in history. Athletes, artists, leaders, inventors. None of them reached greatness because they were always motivated. They succeeded because they practiced discipline. They showed up even when they didn't feel like it. They worked when inspiration was silent. They acted when others made excuses. Motivation gives you the desire to start, but discipline gives you the courage to continue. The real difference between success and failure lies in that persistence. When you rely solely on motivation, your progress depends on how you feel. But feelings are temporary, changing from moment to moment. One day you feel unstoppable, the next day you feel drained. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It's anchored in commitment. It transforms effort into habit and habit into identity. When you become disciplined, action becomes automatic. You don't need to negotiate with yourself. You just follow through because it's who you are. That's why disciplined people don't wait for the right moment. They create it. They understand that motivation is a visitor, but discipline is a companion that stays for life. Another powerful truth is that discipline actually fuels motivation. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-trust. That trust turns into confidence. And confidence reignites motivation. So rather than waiting for motivation to act to create motivation. Small, consistent actions, waking up early, completing a task, keeping your word, build momentum. That momentum becomes energy, and that energy becomes renewed inspiration. This is how discipline and motivation work together. One sustains the other, but discipline always leads. Discipline is freedom from the ups and downs of emotion. It gives you stability in a world full of distractions and doubt. It teaches you that progress is not built on feelings but on faithfulness. Faithfulness to your goals, your routines, and your values. Motivation might light the path, but discipline is what walks it. It's the quiet, steady force that carries you forward when the noise fades and the road feels long. Those who master discipline don't need to chase inspiration, because they've built something far stronger. A mindset that works even when they don't feel like it. That's the secret. Motivation starts the journey, but discipline makes sure you finish it. Consistency is the hidden engine behind every form of mastery. It is not talent, luck, or sudden bursts of inspiration that separate success from stagnation. It's the small, repeated actions performed day after day. Consistency is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. It's the steady rhythm that builds skill, discipline, and strength. While motivation comes and goes, consistency stays. It's not glamorous, it's not loud. It's built in quiet repetition, in showing up again and again, even when progress feels invisible. Those who understand the power of consistency know that great things are not built overnight. They are shaped through time, patience, and persistence. Every small step, no matter how insignificant it may seem, contributes to something greater. Over time, those steps compound, shaping habits, refining the mind, and ultimately defining destiny. The beauty of consistency is that it doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for persistence. You don't have to be the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented. You just have to keep showing up. The problem for most people is that they want results faster than they are willing to work for them. They want transformation in days, not in years. But life rewards the consistent, not the occasional. Progress often happens so slowly that you can't see it in the moment. Yet with time, the accumulation of small actions becomes visible. The writer who writes a few pages each day finishes a book. The athlete who trains daily gains strength. The student who studies a little every day builds wisdom. Success is rarely a single giant leap. It's a series of tiny steps repeated faithfully. Consistency also builds habits, and habits shape identity. When you perform an action repeatedly, your brain begins to wire it into your behavior. What once required effort becomes natural. Over time, you no longer have to force yourself to act. It becomes part of who you are. This is how discipline becomes character. Every time you act with consistency, you reinforce a belief. I am someone who follows through. That belief strengthens your confidence, which in turn strengthens your consistency. This cycle creates mastery not just in your actions, but in your mindset. You start to see yourself as capable, dependable, and powerful, someone who finishes what they start. Small daily actions also teach patience and resilience. Consistency forces you to accept the truth that growth is not immediate. It teaches you to focus on the process rather than obsess over the outcome. When you stay consistent long enough, results become inevitable. Even on the days when you don't see progress, something is still changing within you. You're training your mind to endure discomfort, your body to adapt, and your spirit to persist. Consistency becomes your shield against doubt and distraction. It grounds you when life feels uncertain. reminding you that slow progress is still progress. Another gift of consistency is momentum. Once you establish a routine, your actions begin to flow naturally. The more consistent you are, the less energy it takes to continue. Momentum keeps you moving forward even when motivation fades. It's like pushing a heavy wheel. Hard at first, but once it's rolling, it carries its own weight. This is why small actions matter so much. Each small win builds momentum, and momentum becomes unstoppable. Over time, it becomes easier to stay on track than to quit. Consistency also compounds, just like interest in a bank. Each disciplined action builds upon the previous one. The returns may seem small at first, but over months and years, they multiply into remarkable results. The person who consistently invests effort in their growth eventually surpasses the one who only works in bursts of inspiration. This compounding effect is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. Consistency is more than repetition. It's commitment in motion. It's the quiet belief that every small effort counts, even when no one notices. Mastery doesn't arrive suddenly. It's earned through daily devotion to improvement. When you honor the process, when you give your best repeatedly without needing applause or reward, you become unstoppable. Consistency builds habits, habits shape mindset, and mindset defines destiny. The life you desire is not built in a day. It's built daily through the simple but powerful act of showing up again and again. Awareness and emotional control are the foundation of true discipline. Without awareness, you cannot see the patterns that hold you back. Without emotional control, even the best intentions crumble under pressure. Discipline isn't just about willpower or effort. It's about understanding yourself, your triggers, habits, thoughts, and emotions, and learning how to respond instead of react. Awareness brings clarity. It's the ability to step back and observe your actions as they happen. It allows you to recognize when you're tempted to give up, when you're chasing distractions, or when emotions begin to steer your decisions. The moment you become aware, you regain control. Instead of being a slave to impulses, you become the master of your mind. Every person faces moments of temptation, frustration, and doubt. The difference between those who stay disciplined and those who give in lies in their ability to manage emotions. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means understanding your emotions and not allowing them to dictate your choices. When you feel tired, angry, or discouraged, your mind will always look for the easy way out. It will tell you to quit, to rest, or to postpone. But awareness helps you see that feeling as temporary, not permanent. You learn to pause, breathe, and act with purpose rather than impulse. This is the moment where discipline is truly tested. Not when things are easy, but when your emotions are in chaos. Awareness helps you identify the habits that sabotage your focus. Maybe you procrastinate when something feels uncomfortable. Maybe you scroll through your phone when anxious. Maybe you eat or sleep excessively to escape pressure. These are not failures of character. They are automatic patterns created by the mind to avoid discomfort. But when you observe them clearly, without judgment, you can change them. Awareness turns automatic reactions into conscious choices. It helps you see where your attention leaks and where your energy is wasted. Every time you catch yourself drifting and redirect your focus, you strengthen discipline. You train your mind to follow intention, not impulse. Emotional control also builds resilience. Life is full of stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. Without emotional balance, every challenge can feel like a reason to stop trying. But when you learn to regulate your emotions, you stop seeing obstacles as threats and start viewing them as opportunities to grow stronger. You realize that emotions are signals, not commands. Fear doesn't have to stop you. Anger doesn't have to control you. Sadness doesn't have to break you. You can acknowledge them, feel them, and still choose your path. This ability to stay calm in chaos, focused in frustration, and patient in difficulty is what defines true discipline. Awareness and emotional control also protect your time. When you're emotionally reactive, you waste energy on overthinking, regret, and unnecessary conflict. But when you're self-aware, you act with precision. You know what deserves your attention and what doesn't. You stop chasing approval, avoid distractions, and focus on what truly matters. You begin to live intentionally rather than impulsively. This shift doesn't just make you more disciplined. It makes you more peaceful. You realize that most battles are not external but internal, and victory begins within. The more aware you become, the more power you have to choose your response to life. Each time you resist a destructive impulse or manage an emotional storm without losing focus, you strengthen the muscle of self-control. Over time, discipline stops feeling like force and starts feeling like freedom. You no longer react blindly, you respond wisely. You no longer chase comfort, you choose growth. Awareness becomes your inner compass and emotional control becomes your shield. Together, they create a disciplined mind. A mind that acts with intention, stays calm under pressure, and remains loyal to its higher purpose even when emotions try to pull it away. That is the quiet strength that sustains success long after motivation fades. Environment and structure are the silent partners of discipline. Many people think that discipline is all about inner strength or willpower, but in reality, your surroundings and the systems you create play a powerful role in shaping your behavior. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your environment and structure. When your surroundings are filled with distractions, clutter, and temptation, it becomes harder to stay focused, no matter how strong your intentions are. But when your environment supports your goals, discipline becomes natural. You no longer have to fight with yourself to stay on track. The structure you build begins to carry you forward. Discipline, then, is not just about what you resist, it's about what you design. A well-structured environment acts as a guide for your behavior. Think of it as invisible assistance. If you want to eat healthier, keeping junk food out of the house makes that choice easier. If you want to work productively, keeping your phone away from your desk removes distraction. These small environmental adjustments reduce the number of decisions you have to make and save your mental energy for what truly matters. The fewer temptations you face, the less willpower you need. This is how structure strengthens discipline. Not through pressure, but through smart design. It's not about fighting your weaknesses, but supporting your strengths. Creating structure also means building clear routines. Routines remove uncertainty and create rhythm. When you wake up, exercise, work, and rest at consistent times, your body and mind begin to expect those actions. They become automatic. This is the secret behind people who seem effortlessly disciplined. They've simply built systems that make the right choice the easiest choice. Routines train your brain to follow a path that supports success. You no longer waste time debating whether to act, you just act because it's what you do. Over time, this repetition becomes your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, and that belief makes discipline even stronger. Another vital part of structure is goal clarity. You can't stay disciplined toward a goal you don't understand. Clarity turns vague dreams into actionable steps. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, define what success means to you. Instead of saying, I'll work harder, decide when and how you'll work. Clear goals give your discipline direction. They help you prioritize what matters and eliminate distractions disguised as opportunities. When your goals are defined, your actions have purpose. That purpose fuels consistency and focus, turning effort into progress. Accountability is another form of environmental structure that keeps discipline alive. When you share your goals with others or work with a mentor, friend, or coach, you create an external force that reminds you to stay consistent. Accountability transforms discipline from a private battle into a shared commitment. Knowing that someone is aware of your progress makes it harder to break promises to yourself. It builds reliability, responsibility, and pride in your actions. Even writing your goals publicly, tracking your progress on paper, or joining a community with similar aims can make a huge difference. Accountability transforms intentions into habits. Your environment also includes the people you surround yourself with. Energy is contagious. Spend time with people who are lazy, negative, or distracted, and your focus will suffer. But when you're around driven, positive, and disciplined individuals, their mindset rubs off on you. Your circle can either elevate or drain you, so choose wisely. Create an atmosphere that reflects your goals. Fill it with inspiration, reminders of your purpose, and tools that make progress accessible. Discipline thrives not in chaos but in order. When your environment is clean, your goals are clear, and your routines are stable, discipline becomes almost automatic. You don't have to constantly push yourself forward. The structure does it for you. Every choice becomes easier, every action more aligned. The secret to sustained discipline isn't forcing yourself to work harder. It's designing a life that makes it easier to stay consistent. Structure creates freedom because it removes confusion and resistance. It's the quiet architecture behind every disciplined life, the framework that turns effort into ease and intention into achievement. True discipline is not a cage that limits freedom, it is the key that unlocks it. Most people think of discipline as restriction, as something that takes away pleasure or spontaneity, but that is a misunderstanding. Real discipline doesn't imprison you, it liberates you. It frees you from the control of impulses, emotions, and distractions that keep you trapped in cycles of chaos. When you lack discipline, your life becomes reactive. You drift wherever your feelings take you, pulled by laziness, fear, and temptation. But when you develop discipline, you take back control. You become the one steering your own course instead of being tossed around by every wave of emotion or circumstance. That is true freedom, the ability to choose your direction with clarity and strength. Freedom without discipline is an illusion. People often confuse freedom with doing whatever they want whenever they want. But that kind of freedom leads to chaos. Without boundaries, structure, or focus, freedom turns into disorder. You become a prisoner of your own impulses, chasing pleasure, avoiding discomfort, and never finding peace. Discipline changes that. It teaches you that freedom doesn't come from saying yes to everything. It comes from learning when to say no. It's the power to delay gratification, to make decisions not for the moment but for the future. Each time you choose long-term purpose over short-term comfort, you expand your freedom. You free yourself from regret, guilt, and wasted potential. Discipline brings clarity because it aligns your actions with your values. It removes the noise of indecision. When you are disciplined, you don't waste energy wondering what to do next. You already know. You've built habits, priorities, and systems that support your goals. This clarity brings peace. You stop fighting against yourself and start moving in harmony with your purpose. You realize that discipline is not an external force imposed on you. It's an internal agreement between who you are and who you want to be. It is the bridge between chaos and calm, between confusion and confidence. Through discipline, life gains structure. You begin to trust yourself. You know that even when emotions shift or challenges arise, you can rely on your own consistency. That trust builds inner freedom. You no longer depend on external motivation, approval, or control. You become self-led, and that independence is the deepest form of liberation. You realize that the disciplined person can rest peacefully because they've earned it, can enjoy pleasure because it doesn't control them, and can face hardship because they've built resilience. Discipline is not a punishment, it's a promise of stability in an unstable world. Every act of discipline, no matter how small, strengthens your ability to make conscious choices. It's the quiet voice that says, stay focused when your mind wants to wander. It's the inner strength that pushes you to act when laziness tries to take over. It's the wisdom that helps you choose growth over comfort, responsibility over impulse, purpose over distraction. Over time, these choices create order where there was once disorder. The mind becomes calmer, the emotions steadier, the path clearer. Discipline gives you control over your time, your focus, and your destiny. True discipline also brings spiritual freedom, the freedom to live in alignment with your values and highest vision. When you master your impulses, you no longer react to life, you respond to it with intention. You stop living by circumstance and start living by choice. That's where fulfillment begins. The more disciplined you become, the more peaceful you feel. You no longer chase satisfaction, you create it. You stop fearing challenges because you've learned that your strength grows in the moments you resist weakness. Discipline transforms chaos into clarity, fear into confidence, and confusion into control. Discipline is the path to mastery, not just of work or habits, but of the self. It grants you the ultimate freedom from the chaos of the undisciplined mind. It gives you the power to live life on your own terms, guided not by fleeting emotions but by steady purpose. When you live with discipline, you don't lose freedom, you finally discover it. Discipline is not a punishment, it's the foundation of freedom, success, and inner peace. It is the quiet force that shapes character, transforms potential into power, and turns chaos into clarity. Motivation may start your journey, but discipline keeps it alive long after the excitement fades. It's the voice that whispers, keep going when your emotions say stop. Through consistency, awareness, structure, and emotional control, you build a life directed by choice rather than chance. Every act of discipline strengthens your identity, sharpens your focus, and deepens your purpose. True discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's showing up for yourself every day, regardless of mood, fear, or circumstance. In mastering discipline, you master life itself. You gain the rare freedom to live deliberately, to act with purpose, and to become the person you were meant to be. Steady, focused, and unstoppable.